Hi, I'm Tony and welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to introduce my husband, Henry. Henry and his Rick quality beard, as my daughter likes to call it. So today we're going to tell the story of how Henry and I got together. Because believe it or not, Henry and I have known of each other since we were
high school.
I think I was about 16, 17. He was a senior in high school. And we went to the same high school together.
For 2 years, yeah.
For 2 years. He was a grade ahead of me. And I remember Henry because he was in ROTC and I was in band. And they wore shiny helmets. That's how I remember you.
I got us away from the shiny helmets.
Yes. He helped him get rid of the shiny helmets. Anyway, so we knew of each other back in high school. Didn't know each other, but we knew of each other. And so for a few years, we went our separate ways, and then we ended up working at Walmart together, and we did the whole, hey, don't I know you? And that's when we realized we went to high school together.
Didn't you go to?
Yes. So we were friends for 10 years at Walmart.
Yes, and I would say friends, loosely based friends, because we would talk. I don't know that we ever really went out and hung out. I mean, we would meet up with other groups of people, but would you say, hey, what's going on? Let's go catch a movie. Let's go.
No, we never did that. Actually, there were a few times I gave you my number and you kind of just.
Well, come on. Looking at you, I always knew, look, that person's going to make someone an excellent wife someday. Way out of my league, but she's just going to make somebody extremely happy someday. And thankfully, in the end, it was me.
So the whole thing is that I worked the closing shift and Henry worked overnights.
Stocking.
Yeah. Would you guys come in like 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
So he'd come a little bit before, and he would have to come down where I was stocking at a certain point every night. And that's when we started talking and getting to know each other. And I think that's where our friendship grew.
Yeah.
So we fast forward to 10 years. And I worked with this woman who was a really nice woman, and you know how friends are. We always want to hook up friends up with somebody. And I was like, you know what? She'd be great for Henry. And so I tried so hard, and she liked him and everything. And it all kind of ended up at the Christmas party where I was trying really hard to hook them up. And it was at this Christmas party that I realized I liked Henry myself. As I'm telling my friends all the great things about Henry, I'm realizing, you know what? He really is a great guy. He has everything you want. He's extremely smart. One of the smartest men I know to this day. He's hilarious. That sense of humor that you want in a man, he has it. He's got it all.
I can go quite overboard on that.
Quite, but that's okay. He's a good guy. He is a really good guy. And so I realized, oh my God, I remember telling my friend Marie, I turned to her one day and I go, oh my God, I think I like Henry. And she was like, she was so excited. And I had to go to my friend and I had to tell the truth, because I'm not the kind of person who's going to go behind a friend's back to steal, especially when I'm trying to hook you guys up. Mm-hmm. And so I remember I went in and I talked to her and I go, look, I know I'm trying to hook you guys up, but I realize I like them. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to see if this goes anywhere. I go, but if not, I'll totally back away, because I was trying to hook them up, And
her friend was super nice, but I did not have any interest in dating her. She was really nice. She was, she was very flirty, and it was a little embarrassing because I knew I did not want to move forward with her on the relationship, other than past, hi, how you doing, friendship type thing. But talking to Tony all the time, and I could say, I'd always knew that Tony was, like I said, going to make somebody a great partner for someone. And I was always had a little crush on her and always attracted to her, and because why wouldn't she be? She has everything. She's smart. She's beautiful. She's loyal. I've got him fooled.
I've got him fooled.
Definitely. I traded up. I married up.
Well, and I went to my friend and I told her, I told her all this stuff, and my friend was like, "Look, Toni, I can tell that he likes you," and so she gave me her blessing, said it was okay because I did not want there to be any hard feelings between us, and I will say this, that we still remained friends afterwards, and that was good. And she was very happy that Henry and I worked out. And so I remember, going to Henry, and I don't know, did we tell each other that we liked each other? I know he invited.
I think it was a situation, well, I had invited her to a Christmas party where I went to hand her the invitation, and it flew out of my hand.
Out of the hands.
And
So
she said I threw it to her.
So suave.
When you're nervous, things like that are going to happen. So she couldn't make it to the Christmas party.
We were moving.
And so tried to get, and she's, then the New Year's Eve party came about, and I'm like, hey, would you like to go to this? And she accepted, yes. And so it was a good move forward. We had made plans to try to go out on dates.
And we did. And we actually ended up going out a few nights before New Year's Eve because I realized, oh my God, do you really want your first kiss to be on New Year's? That's a lot of pressure, and so...
Well, I was fine with it being but I guess she had kind of intentions, and I was like, and it was, I wouldn't say it was a date. It was like, hey, come over, let's get a pizza, let's get a beer, watch a couple movies. And that's what were the 2 movies we watched?
Oh my gosh. I don't remember. But I know we had pizza and beer, that's on you. This was a man for me. Pizza and beer, very simple, straight. It's exactly what I would want. So
I can't remember the movies right now.
Was it a scary movie?
Unusual.
It was one of the scary movies.
Yeah, it was like a scary movie, and then you kind of dozed off, or you were very bored with both of them.
Anyway, so that's how we started out, and the whole thing is I was kind of a commitment phobe. We were in our early 30s when this happened, and so I never had a really long-term relationship. Henry hadn't really had long-term relationships.
No, and it was, and I think a lot of it, for me, it was not so much dating as it was before then with girls. It's more a happenstance of convenience when I would date, or I would see a girl. It just kind of wasn't. I don't even know how to explain it. Well, and I'm not trying to be crude. It's just like it just kind of happened. And this with her, I really wanted it to be okay. Let's date. Let's do this serious.
We were adults.
This could move into something.
Well, yeah.
I knew from the beginning, if this worked out, this was going to be it.
I think especially since you work with people,
this was not just like, it was. You didn't want to throw all your eggs in one basket, but then again, you didn't want to go at it half-heartedly either. Look, if I'm going to date Toni, I'm going to give it an honest effort. I want to do it right. I don't want to do stupid things in the beginning. I don't want to mess around and see other people at the same time. I'm going to commit my time to seeing her, building the relationship.
Well,
and
we were good friends, so you're not going to,
and she knew all the
bad
crappy,
things about him. He knew all the bad things about me.
Crappy secrets and stories. She knew what she was getting into, and trust me, I was getting the better bargain of the two. She was definitely getting some mileage.
We knew early on, this is not just going to be a random, nonchalant kind of thing. This is actually, we're going to go into it because we actually can see it going somewhere. And it was really funny because of the fact of how fast things happened with us. Now, I will say this. Before I started dating Henry, I never really told a guy that I loved him. Because to me, those are very serious words.
And she still hasn't said that. Kind of concerned after so many years.
But the whole thing is, we started dating and things went really fast. I mean, gosh... It was at the very end of the year, so I remember New Year's, Christmas, all that sort of stuff.
And it was the end of 2001, which, after 9/11, it was just one of those things is just things that were important a year ago were definitely not as important as they were.
Things are different then, yeah.
Yeah, and people say that you don't know what it was like back then. You really don't, because your mind's a different area. You're thinking more of the future. You're thinking more of kind of what you're going to leave behind, I guess. And,
a lot of reflection during that time.
Yeah.
And so, we started dating, and oh my gosh, I know at one point within a few months, you started looking at buying a house.
Well, that was a necessity, and that is something I had been needing to do for a while. Things had just worked out for me where I didn't have to. Yeah, I did live in my parents' house, but at that time they were living in a different place. My stepfather's trying to reestablish a job in another part of the state to come back. So I was renting the house I was living in, and had some roommates, and I had a lot of freedom with that. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to. I had apartments, and I moved back and forth, helped them out, they helped me out, and it was just
so he needed a house.
Yeah,
well, he was at that point,
and I'm not going to go into great detail, but my mother made it a situation where I had to get a house.
His father, his stepfather had passed away.
Right, and she had moved back home.
Moved back home, yeah.
And she was very dominant, and 33, I pretty much had that. I'm not gonna never really lived with her, before, anyways. But I'm a grown adult. I don't live under. Oh, you're living in my house, my rules anymore.
Because at that point, Henry and I had not had our own homes, because I'm Mexican. I lived with my parents, at that point. I was a single mom, and I had lived with my parents. We were all helping each other out. They were helping me raise my son and everything. And so, he went, and a few months into it, realized he needed to buy a house. And so, because of our relationship, and also kind of played into it. And when did we get engaged? I mean, this is how quickly this relationship went.
I think we moved in the house first before we got engaged.
Yeah. We did everything backwards.
Yeah.
We really did.
But, it was, when you're older, like when you're in your 30s and you're more stable, you know what you want, you have an idea how your life is going. You're established, I'd say. Things make more sense on what and how and what to do,
And so I think May
is when the house closed. It was we moved in on the anniversary of my stepfather's passing away, which hit my mother really hard, but it was just one of those things that had to happen. She was a grown woman, I'm a grown man. Everybody got to move on with their lives.
Yeah, so he bought the house for himself. I wasn't planning on moving in. I think we decided, I agreed to move in like last minute.
Well, I'm like, look, I'm buying this house. You're gonna have to move in with me.
And it was really weird because
we'll see.
Like I said, I'm a commitment phobe. I had never lived with anyone that.
Other than roommates, I had.
Well, he hadn't either.
Never lived with anybody from the opposite sex.
And funny side note, on the day that we were supposed to move in, because my parents helped move us in, as they told Henry, "Do you want her? She really doesn't like to cook. She doesn't like to clean. Once you take her, you can't bring her back." Is pretty much what my parents said. And so,
God, they were right.
So the whole thing is that I went to work, and then I got off, I don't know, about 2, I think, and then I was supposed to go to the house and meet them all. And I was so nervous about moving in with someone that I started hyperventilating. I remember you guys called me going, "Where are you?" And I'm like bent over, my head is in between my knees, and I'm like, I think I'm hyperventilating because this is a big step. And I'm like, oh my God, am I ready for this? This is what I should do, because it's just not me, it's my son too. And the funny part is, I was standing right next to my car the whole entire time. But once I got, took a deep breath, okay, this is what I need to do, this is what I want to do, everything was good. My parents moved me in like that, and we lived happily ever after. So far. But no, we did do things backwards. We moved in, with Jordan, and we ended up getting pregnant once we realized, we got engaged a few days after that. And then we decided, okay, we want to have family together. I have endometriosis. I was told.
Oh, no, we were engaged before you got pregnant. We were engaged.
Yes, we were engaged.
We were engaged longer than we
because
dated.
we got engaged a few days after we moved in.
Right.
And so we were, okay, we're going to get married. And we had discussed having a kid together. And so, which is Hannah, who's sitting right over there. And I told him I have an endometriosis. The doctor said that I can't get pregnant without medical intervention. So this may take a while. So we decided to start trying. And we got pregnant like the next month, which is my second miracle baby. Story on that later. But anyway.
And I was like the fourth person to know.
And so then we went and we got married afterwards. So we did everything in a weird, crazy order. But we've been together. We celebrate 15 years. 15 years on May 4th. That's our wedding anniversary. As I like to remember it by May the 4th be with you. And we've been together for 17 years at the end of this year. And when we tell people our story, they're always really amazed because we have a lot of young friends who are like, I'll never meet anyone. They're just saying how they're going to be together. They're going to be alone for the rest of their lives. And, we're like, we were in our 30s. We were definitely in our 30s. And it was good because I think we were prepared for it. We, we sowed our oats and we went and saw what we wanted and what we didn't want.
I think that's the most, if you can give advice to people on relationships, if the biggest bet is like, look, you rarely find that person right off when you're like 18, 19, that your person you're going to marry.
Think of the person at 17 that you couldn't live without, that you pray to God to keep in your life.
Does it happen?
Nope.
Yes.
Well, sometimes.
It does. We know a couple that have been together since they were teenagers and they have been through the ringer, but they're still together. And I'm just like, wow.
It worked out for them. For them it did.
It's love to see, and I love them both, but I also see the issues they went through. I've seen so many people get married in their mid-20s, and the reason they didn't, and I think the biggest thing is they didn't feel like they had a chance to do the things they wanted to do before they got married that they couldn't do while they were married.
Well, it's hard when you're really young
and
and
I'm
your
not
friends
just
are
talking
out
about
there
with
partying and having
and
fun.
stuff. But there's a lot of things you can do as a single person that you can't do when you're married.
And so, go out there and find what you want in someone. Find out what you don't want in someone. And so, I have this rule that nobody should be married before 25 because we change so much from 18 to 25. Some people do get married before, and that's totally fine. But just know that you do change.
Yeah, I was definitely that person who felt, no, I was never going to find anybody. There were a lot of my relationships were superficial, were very short, were very just, nice people. Is it somebody I want to marry? No, you knew that in the beginning.
Yeah.
And dodge some bullets.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Garth Brooks. Some of the greatest gifts are unanswered prayers.
Yes.
Yeah. I've laid in bed, just solemn and upset. Oh my God, I'm never going to find anybody, and then poof, then she appears like a genie out of a bottle.
So, at our age, we look back at life and we're like, oh, that's why that happened. That's why it didn't work out. Or that's why I went through that so I could appreciate this man. So
the people we were in high school would not have had the relationship that Tony and I.
And we tell people that all the time.
That
high school
we
Tony
and
people. High school Henry would not have gotten along. I think we probably would have dated for a few weeks and then said, see ya. Yep. But 30-year-old Henry and Tony, we worked out great. So that's our story. And we're going to end this with a funny, embarrassing story from my husband. So, like I said, he's got a sense of humor. And we are the kind of person, we're very, very open. Really, nothing is taboo with us. We're very open. So if you do not like fart stories, I suggest you end this video now.
I'm going to tell you, I like bathroom humor and dick jokes. It's just the way it is.
Here we go.
An older friend of mine, Saturdays we used to go out and eat breakfast at usually like a buffet. And, you know, you eat buffet, you overeat, things tend to happen. So we go eat, we run across the street to the big, what do you call that? It was a Home Depot, but it was a big box store, you know, like a Sam's Club. And we're looking at stuff and looking at stuff. So the whole thing is, I mean, guys try to fart on each other. That's what we do.
He tries to fart on us.
Well, I haven't fart on anybody I can get away with. But so we're hanging around, we're looking at stuff, and I kind of jockey myself in front of my friend, and I get a few steps ahead of him. And
oh, jockeying! I was wondering what you said. You know, we go on.
Jockeying for a position.
Jockeying. You know, go on.
So I move up ahead of him, and all of a sudden I rip. And I smile, I turn around, and it is not my friend. It is a little old lady. But my friend is behind her, and he is laughing quite hysterically, enjoying the show. And I, with a look of horror on my face, I apologized to the lady, and she said, "That's okay. I heard your motor running, baby." And I slunk off, and my friend proceeded to tell all our other friends, and it was a great story of hilarity and frivolity.
Ladies and gentlemen, my lovely husband, Henry. So, I'm glad you all got to meet him. If you have any questions, or if you want to hear any more lovely fart stories from my husband, I will be more than happy. I plan on bringing him up more here on the channel, and we can tell more stories, and because like I said, he is full of it. Stories. Among other things. So, thank you. If you like this video, like it, subscribe, share, and we'll see you guys around. Bye.